Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to TCG University. It's me, Noah, here with
James
and
Oliver.
We're going to talk about our experience for the Phoenixville Reraise event.
Yes.
Before we get to all of that, let's go ahead and get our Patreon supporters out of the way. We want to thank Ryan Core, Christopher Bromley, Sean O'Brien, Timothy Friedlieb, Josh Hillers, and Jay Rogers. Thank you guys for still supporting us through these tough times. Where do you want to kick off from? So we went to Phoenixville.
Yep. Drove 20 hours.
Yeah, me, James, and Oliver to commentate for the Reraise event. Yeah. I drove majority of my drive through the night. Continuing, me and James commentated for the Reraise event. Oliver was in the back running the stream for us. We appreciate that for you. If you didn't come with us, it probably would have been a lot more rough. It was, what, 6 rounds? 5 rounds?
6 rounds.
6 rounds.
6 rounds?
57 people.
57 people. 3 off from the 60. I'm assuming 3 people didn't make it because they capped out. And then day 2, they had a bunch of side events. Everybody got a prize in that one.
It was a lot of side event support.
Yeah, I was astounded by it. I do want to kick off. Thank you to everybody at Phoenixville, Amy, Colin. You guys were amazing. We enjoyed being there. We're glad that you guys had us to commentate. Especially, it was my first time doing it, so it was a real big experience for me.
Glad to come out and do it again.
I looked definitely better than James because I had the proper purple shirt. Ha ha ha. We spent like an entire day trying to find the right shirts.
Yeah.
And we still couldn't get a matching set. And Oliver just kind of
bought a purple shirt, but then decided not to use
didn't
it.
Wear it. It was like $5.
Yeah. If TLDR, my pants got wet in the bathroom. They didn't really tell us how the shower curtains work.
He pee-peed.
Sorry, guys. I couldn't hold it. It was a 20-hour drive.
That's fair. I got us pulled over.
Because we bought the shirts after the 20-hour drive.
So yeah, I guess back onto the event since we're sidetracking now. Have fun with that one.
Yeah. The venue was very cool.
Yeah.
Had its own ramen, chicken.
I mean, its own cafe. You just want
Like
to
an
go there.
entire
You're
cafe.
naming the menu.
Ramen mattered. Like a cafe is, to me, I think small things and iced coffee. I don't think
I haven't been to
boba.
a store like that since we had anywhere near close to that since Portal Land was here, because Portal Land was the closest to a big gaming setup with a little cafe area.
Yeah.
I used to play Smash Bros there, but that was leagues better. They had a little theater area which was super cool.
The
they had
theater was very.
It was. They had a PlayStation, where you actually play games. I was not talking about the consoles.
Oh, you weren't talking about
a play area for all the people to play card games and stuff. They had a cafe area.
I was talking about the theater room with.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
the theater room
4K projector that was
What was the dimensions? Was it 127 or
One-
something?
It was
128.
It was
128.
more
Yeah.
than this wall.
Yeah.
So much more than even this wall.
Noah saw his past experiences.
Dude, we watched a
old
bunch of
videos
games where I got clapped, and then one game where I decked out Zeth because that was the only way I was winning. Yeah, that was fun.
It was a very fun event.
I like that. They did have a PS4. They had a Switch, all that fun stuff. The event overall, I think, was handled pretty well. Everything ran really smoothly. I think first
Especially
round was the
being shorthanded on what they needed for that event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Which we'll end up talking about
Yeah.
in the meantime, because there's a lot of things I want to talk about. I forgot to talk about Chris about. Oh,
I want to talk to him about the judge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So James, where do you want to kick off on your end here?
Do you want to start on the drama or end on the drama?
So we can start on the drama
And then end with
we don't
the
need to
actual
go
recap?
to all the meta shit. It's just the actual games themselves is what we care about. We don't care about the outside stuff. So it was Sam Prime and
So
Steve
we had
Sauce.
2 big instances.
Well, Sam Prime and Steve Sauce was the first one.
Was the first one, yep. In which 2 players miscalculated what had happened inside of a match, misreported that information to the judge during a judge call. The judge being the only judge there and doing the best he could.
I do want to preface, we're not trying to dog on anybody here.
No,
we're just explaining it how we saw it as. If anybody has problems, obviously
from
feel free to
our
leave
third
comments or
person
contact us.
at the event view of how it went down, which was obviously, if you guys didn't know, we had no audio commentating. We had no audio of what was going on during the match.
Yeah.
We could only see the same thing as everyone else. So anytime there was a judge call, I stepped out of the commentating room and went and sat and listened to what the judge was talking about with the players. So what had happened was there was a Phasalis that got put 5 whatever cards underneath because of Typhon or whatever. and both players had miscounted how many cards had left and did whatever, and had misreported the game state because they both believed the same thing, or at least both stated that they had, to the judge. Judge, using that misinformation that they had both agreed and given to him, made a judge call on it, to which chat hated everything about it, but using that misinformation, gave the judge call, sat on his judge call, and did not change it or do anything with it, stood by his call, and then the game proceeded. Later on, obviously, as anybody in the comments will say for 100% sure, since we're talking about this topic, that the chat did end up clipping the certain like entire circumstance of what happened
when the typhon hit. Yeah.
But by the time the chat had brought it to our attention, they had already finished the judge call and almost already finished the game that they were already working on. 2 notes to that is, chat's not a judge. Like, chat can't do shit. Like, it sucks. Like, honestly, if you're watching and you see a misplay, you can try to point it out, but like, whether you clip it or not is not up to the judge.
I don't want to relate this to her. It's almost the same as like the content we put up, where like so just a preface, our videos are generally pre-recorded ahead of time.
So far ahead of time.
We're so busy with the shit that we do. Like this Turks match, like the Turks and Avalanche matches that are going up.
We recorded
played like
maybe
almost
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. This is before I updated Turks and like it actually functions and does its job now. But like all the comments are nice to have just because we can go back and like see any misplays that we made and stuff. But like obviously it can't change the state of the game. That's essentially how it is with this one. Like it's a little too late because the turns have progressed to that point.
And like one of the things the chat wanted us really do, which was just hold the game state the entire time till chat could pull up a clip. Here's the thing. Honestly, chat pulled up that clip way fucking faster than I thought they were going to. 100% faster. But the thing is, if we can't pull up chat, if we can't pull up that stream for every single player in the venue, the stream should not have that impact their games at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can step out and notice something the same way as if we were there watching the game. We can stop something and notice something, but we can't hold an entire match on the idea that chat believes something should go another way if we don't have proof. We're not in that match. We're not the judges. We're not the head judge. We can't make that decision.
Also, this might just be a thing on like our ineptitude or whatever. I don't think it is so much, but we were running the stream through OBS. We're very familiar with Streamlabs, not OBS so much. And Oliver, being in the back end, didn't really know what he was doing for like a good chunk. He kind of learned everything on the fly, and I think he did a great job with what you know. But there wasn't any option that we could find
to replay
the stream. Like I was casting from my phone onto the TV, and for whatever reason, maybe there's just like a disconnect on mobile or not, but I wasn't even able to rewind on my phone to double check, because I would have done that just to make sure, but I couldn't even do that.
We just didn't have the capability for that. And even if we did, there's no way we should have done anything about it.
Yeah,
we're not the head judge.
We're there for pure entertainment purposes to commentate and whatnot. Yes. If chat sees the misplays and we're able to catch them, I mean, we're
honestly able to catch them. It shouldn't be chat catches something, we stop the game and do something.
So
we watched at the same time as chat and caught the same thing. We go out and be like, hey.
We had a few times that happened.
So how events like this for card games go is that unless every table is getting streamed, then it is pretty much an honor for the people who are commentating to be able to look into the match that is happening, and we cannot influence it to any degree. If there is a problem, it is between the players and the judge. That is how that works.
The only time you can ever the only time you should ever influence anything is if you are a bystander, and even at that point, you're not supposed to interrupt players. You're supposed to talk to judges. Most of the time, players don't mind if you interrupt games to like game state wise, but we can't use chat unless everybody has that opportunity. Like, it's one thing if there's a judge at every table for tops, like we have 4 tops matches on and 4 judges watching each match, then it's fine, because everybody should have that judge watching everything and doing everything. And having that replay is fine, understandably, because every judge should be able to catch it anyways, and the replay shouldn't matter. Judge should have already known what's going on, but it's just an entire thing of chat really wanted us to overstep what we should have been able to competently do.
Realistically do.
Realistic, that's the word.
That's the word.
Realistically do.
You were like choking on that one.
I was trying to figure out the right word for it. Like, there's nothing we should have done in that situation. Understandably, we had the information at our fingertips, but anything we do to influence that game past just watching is more than anything we should have done.
Overall, I'm not going to speculate on the game because there were a lot of different ways that was going to happen if the football stayed or not. Obviously, I thought the games that they played were great. It does suck. It really shines a light, especially on another card we'll talk about. Cards like Typhon have a huge margin, or at least a solid margin for human error.
And we'll talk about another one.
Especially like win decks that play Zidane and Typhon, and like your goal is to hit him down so you can steal a dude. Like it's really, you have to be specific on your counts for that. There's no way you can't lose track of counts, or else you're gonna mess up and think a card's somewhere where it shouldn't be, and it's messy.
Me and Oliver on the way here, we're coming up with a meme deck where we play the 11 drop Chaos, Lonnie, Zidane, Typhon.
It's just a steal
Mind
deck.
Flayer.
And it's just Mr. Steal your deck. The joke is, at the end of the game, if it's in our control, we take it home.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God! You guys are gross.
We pull the Yu-Gi-Oh season 2 anti rule. We won the game. We take your cards.
Oh, gross. Moving on. Yeah. So then the next major thing was when Hunter Nance was going up against Chocobo Joe.
Yep.
And their actual game, there wasn't anything wrong with their game per se.
There was nothing wrong with their games at all. Because
well, technically there was, but like.
So what happened was Hunter Nance beats Chocobo Joe in game 1 with his
Fire Magisa.
Fire Magisa over his Verstale deck.
Yep.
Then the Verstale deck beats over the Wind deck.
Yep.
And then in game 3, they played Chocobo Joe was playing Avalanche Soiree versus Hunter Nance's Wind deck.
Yep.
What happened was in the middle of that match, William Lowe, who had played against Hunter Nance in the previous tops round before top
So it was in top 8.
Semi
top 4. Was it?
No, it was quarter.
Yeah, quarter. Yeah, top eight.
Top eight.
Yeah, top 8. He was playing a Zidane that had stolen a card from Hunter Nance's Magisa deck.
Yep.
After the game,
backup. The Zonde backup.
Yeah. And then after the game, thought he had given every single card he had taken back to Hunter Nance. Both players left the tables, Hunter Nance went and played on his next match because he won the match, and William Lowe went off to play in side events, assumably since he later on caught that he had Hunter Nance's Zonde in his deck.
Yep.
So Hunter Nance technically played the first game where he beat the Verstale deck with a 49 card illegal deck for that round. This was also a big thing on
chat. So I understand why, but chat was very on point of it was an illegal deck. Give him the loss.
Yes,
that was their whole goal.
Chat was very give him the news.
But you thought that the loss wouldn't matter, correct? Or was it?
Here's the thing. You have two ways.
You have to rephrase this, yeah.
Yeah. So what chat wanted was for Hunter Nance to lose that game and for Chocobo Joe to win it. Just straight up judge damage gives Joe the win.
Yeah, but the issue with that was he already won with Verstale, and that was the game against Verstale, right?
Yep.
That was the issue with it.
Well, that wasn't
one of the issues.
It wasn't an issue at all.
Not at all.
No, because the way you have to look at it is, you can do that if you want. Any judge is able to do that. I have no problem if a judge chooses to do that. I also have no problem with the way Colin did it, which was Colin just gave Hunter Nance a double warning because it's also William Lowe's fault because he should have checked his deck afterwards, but he can't punish William Lowe because William Lowe's out of the tournament. And he doesn't want, and since game 1 was already done and that game was the faulty match, I like how you're trying to get rid of this one here. And game 2 had already been played and they were in the middle of game 3. Throwing away an entire match in the middle of game 3 just made no sense because it didn't impact anything. So like I understand Colin's point of view as well. What I would have done as a judge would have been to give it a double loss for the first round. It's not fun, but double losses do nothing to the bracket. Double losses do nothing to the match. What ends up happening is both players lost round 1 and that match is voided because nobody won, so nobody can do anything with it. Then the Verstale deck plays the Win deck and wins. Then the Win deck will play the
Soiree
Avalanche. And then depending on how that match ends, if Chocobo Joe wins both of those, right? If he wins the one, then it doesn't matter. He beats Hunter Nance 2-0. If for whatever reason Hunter Nance wins that matchup, it makes the bracket 1 and it makes them both 1 and 2. somebody has to win that matchup. So obviously somebody has to win twice. So you then replay the first matchup.
So then the whole thing is, because it's a 2-deck format as well, you don't. It's not 2 wins. You're good.
I would do no.
It's a win with both decks.
Even in like a best of 3, I do the same.
Well, yeah, but like especially for this one, I would assume it matters more because it's a 2-deck. Even giving him 2 wins doesn't matter. He has to win with one deck.
The problem with the reason why it matters more that you don't change it in a 2-deck format, strictly because the first blind pick matters more than the obvious. You know what you're going to get. So like the idea is, going into the first game, you don't know what you're going into.
I mean, honestly, the Verstale Magisa deck was very up in the air for a hot minute.
For the first part of the early game, it was very up in the air, and then Magisa just stole it.
Yeah, because
so, like,
Magisa wasn't also another thing. It wasn't even Magisa. It was so much that Gutsko was just sitting there too, ready to rack up cards.
It was one of the other things.
Cool match, great fucking.
It was
games.
Honestly outside of the obvious like Zonde, the entire like judge thing, incredible match to watch. The problem is, it's hard to fix that in a way where it doesn't benefit someone. That's why I like the double losses, because like
they just have to replay the game.
It doesn't automatically give Joe a win, which was obviously what chat's wanting, because like judge damage should kill a player. I guess I don't fucking know, but like if you want to punish a player, take away the win, but don't give somebody. I don't like giving somebody. In my opinion, as a judge damage should never give somebody else a benefit. It should only hurt the player you're judge damaging with. The only time this cannot happen is if you're getting judge damage inside of a current match that would forfeit the match, which is your fault in messing up during the match.
Okay.
It's like irrevocable game states inside of a match that is a single player's fault. Like whatever the reason may be, that is a player's fault in that match, specifically them. I'm fine with that as being a game loss. There's nothing you can do about that. That is a current game you are playing.
Yeah. But
the game that mattered in that Tops matchup was the first game they played. It already been played. And if you go back and change it, it changes the entire matchup to where you are now. It doesn't change. It doesn't make good matches. It doesn't make good like rounds. It doesn't. It's not fair to just give somebody a win, especially in Tops. Tops is such a. It's also a reason why I really like double losses in Tops, because like it's the
just the
easiest
most way to neutrally balance it.
To neutrally balance a game. Like game 4s are rough, especially in a longer game formats like Tops. But like it's the only fair way to be able to give somebody something. Yeah. Is to give them the opportunity, not just the free win.
To them. Yeah, that's right. That's really the only.
It's the only thing it's going to be the biggest thing we get roasted on this chat is that opinion right there.
That's fine.
Where double lost to game 4s, like.
I already played a game.
Some of you guys have never played a game 4 and it shows.
Well, none of you guys have ever felt the feeling of double loss, because there are so many card games out and about that if there's a draw, it's not a double loss. It's a
just
draw.
A draw.
In White Shorts, if there's a draw, it is a double loss. In Cardfight Vanguard, in Wixos, if it's a draw, it's a double loss. That means you both lose.
Shit. You didn't get them.
You did not win the game because you were not able to beat your opponent.
So you
I'm
lose.
sorry.
You lost.
You lost.
You lost the game.
It's the truth of the matter. I'm just saying. From me personally, double loss.
Yeah.
Not an issue. I've played too many games where I'm stuck at double loss.
The only time double losses obviously in Swiss hurt, but like double losses in Tops do nothing.
Yeah. No.
Because like it's a 2. You have to win twice in Tops anyways. Somebody has to win.
Yeah.
Losing doesn't do anything in Tops.
Yeah.
That's why like game 4s are so interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's because like getting double losses is so interesting, because game 4 should not happen.
Well, it also shows like who's
it's
like
the most interesting.
It shows some of the strongest players too, because to have that fortitude to keep yourself in the game,
keep going,
see?
Like, I mean, obviously chat probably won't see it besides Steven and Sam talking, but like day 1 at the end of that. The amount of exhaustion on all of those players.
The way Sauce looked,
dude,
like during his interview, was just like exhausted.
He was so done with life, dude.
Everyone was honestly exhausted at the end of day 1.
Like shoulder tapped them and they're down. Like,
it's exhausting playing best of 3 format in 6 rounds.
I mean, what LWG did 6 rounds, but it was just 1 deck format.
Yeah, it was like 1 deck format.
Yeah, it was in and out.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier.
Yeah,
but like
I went in
when we went to Chicago for Bahamut Brawl, it was a 2 deck format with what, 5 rounds, 6 rounds? Was it 6?
5 or 6, yeah.
And like even by the end of that, we were fucking. It's
You guys passed out in the middle of us trying to do an escape room.
Dude. I was out.
Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I tried, but like the second I laid down because like my body hurt, I was done. I realized that, and I was just like, "We're gonna try."
I kind of want to do a locals in a 2-deck format, just because I love it.
God, you're evil.
Can we just play best of 3s? Can we just change the best of 3s?
That's gross. 2 decks.
That's
No, best of 3s is fair.
2 decks.
Best of 3s. I don't want to do 2.
What if your deck gets stomped on, and you know your deck's gonna get stomped on? What's the point of playing best of 3? That's why 2 decks so interesting.
yeah.
2 decks is to me. 2 decks is interesting because it gives variety to a format.
Well, it gives variety, but it also, I think 2 deck is just a more I can't say balance, a different form of best of 3, because you get to a point where like, if I'm playing an aggressive deck, if I'm playing an aggro deck and you're playing wind, you're shit on. Like, period. Wind does not win that match.
Yes, I understand.
In a best of 3, but in a 2 deck format, you have a chance to come back.
Yes, I would rather still play a best of 3 than a 2.
You'd rather sit there and get shit on than have a chance to like make it back.
James doesn't want to feel more tired at the end of the day.
James is just a masochist. That's all it is.
No, he's not a masochist. If he was a masochist, he'd want to do 2-deck format. So that way, yeah.
2 deck formats to me don't show strength in a player. There is strength in a player that you can show with a 2 deck format.
It shows strength to a builder.
It shows strength to a builder, but as a player, it shows no strength to a player.
Brainy, who? Huh? What?
It shows no strength to a player because do you remember how many just win decks we saw?
A lot.
Yeah.
There's no way people weren't playing mono win with the ability.
Yeah.
Luso was nuts.
Yeah. But they exclusively play win because it just counters a lot of decks and can just win.
Yeah,
so why would we play a 2 deck format where somebody's going to be?
This is locals, James. We're not going to play.
I understand, but that's why I don't like 2 deck formats.
Okay,
it's because you would play Kingsglaive, and then to counter other things, wind.
I would never play mono win.
Yeah, I understand.
You know I wouldn't.
You don't 100% know what I'm saying.
Kingsglaive Black Waltz, let's go.
You play the deck that you are most familiar with.
And then you play a deck that
you play the deck that you know is going to win.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You play what you know counters things in the meta.
I'm just saying
so
how you play
I still think it matters, right? Because mono wind is a very, I don't want to say thought intensive, but it's a very sequence heavy deck.
Yeah, you have to know timing.
I think I 100% think it's a 4-head deck. It's a helmet deck. It's the most helmet.
It's a helmet. You think it's a helmet deck? You think it's easy to get through the sequence and not fuck it up?
I think it's easy to learn this.
Okay, let me say this.
When I think
of a helmet deck, this is like shout out to DBS. I think of Janemba mill, where you just sit there milling them and playing cards that mill them out and reactively. That's what I think of a helmet deck.
You can. I learned Janemba in less than 2 hours.
Yeah, and you did well with it.
I top day the event.
Yeah, like
Janemba I'm saying I could spend less than an hour and a half learning the wind deck and do perfectly fine.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we watched enough wind decks to know how to play the deck.
What I'm saying is that deck doesn't take a lot to learn. To me, that deck doesn't take a lot to learn. You learn where your counter pieces are, and sure, in better versus better players, you're gonna get. You might just get shit on because they'll know where the.
I feel like this is every deck.
You're just gonna know where to hit the right points.
It's so weird. I like low key shit on your deck earlier today, and then you fucking dog piled on James.
Dude, okay. So context.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Context. This is gonna be the locals where it was a 7-man locals. Dated it 9/11.
Don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget. So it's gonna be it's gonna be that weekend. But I got clapped
Saturday.
by Noah. 7-3.
They're never gonna see that. Was
off stream because I work at the shop.
The person to put the most damage on me was Travis because I didn't want to deal with his Emperor until I felt comfortable with it.
Yeah. So I got clapped by Noah 7-3, really hard by the way. And then round 3? Round two. James comes to play me. And then 5 minutes in, it was a pretty rough turn 1, turn
3.
Turn 3.
I took this locals. I can't remember exactly who it was. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to forget, but I told somebody I was going to play the Black Waltz deck, and I spent the entire week building up to this, grinding out the different ways I wanted to play the deck, and we got it working. And I was like, I made the Noxuzaku shit last minute, like this morning.
Sick as fuck.
When you watch the deck, you'll understand when you get that off chance of playing Irvin or Tread or Axis, so you can pop them and play Noxuzaku and just steamroll the rest of the. It's insane. That card's nuts, and it fuels your X Death faster because it mills 3 cards. Like, woo!
Yeah.
was
No,
very-
really sick deck.
was
Noah
actually a
will probably
nuts
put a profile of the deck at some point.
Yeah,
Or he'll
we'll
put it
probably-
on FF decks or something.
It'll definitely be on FFTCG.
Yep. So look out for that. But yeah, kind of 7-0'd. James kind of
put
put
deck in top loaders.
kind of put a Sid Randall on the board on turn 1, and then on turn 2 I put an Alcid and a Zeramus,
I
and
couldn't do anything.
kind of sat there. Then turn 3 killed him.
Damn. Yeah.
Yep.
James like, yeah.
Happens.
Yeah, that was locals. James, I'm
Happens.
so sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Moving back to the original topic, though, the Reraise event in Phoenixville.
And our purple shirts.
I do want to. So obviously, I didn't get to see the other. Like, I watched a few other games of like people that we'd interacted with and I'd interacted with beforehand. Shout out to Robert.
I didn't watch any of the games.
Yeah, you were busy resting and interviewing and stuff.
Well,
Can we also shout outs obviously to Viridian, who the murderer is, as we're dubbing it ourselves. I don't care if anybody else doesn't, but like every time that man was on stream, he 2-0'd somebody.
2-0'd his
like
opponents.
Yeah.
fucking
And like
demolished.
not even like close games, or like they start out close and then he'd just be years ahead.
You
Black
his
Waltz.
his deck, the
Viridian's deck?
Viridian's deck, yeah. That one. Which one, James?
That's the Earth. That's the Earth Lightning
They
one.
both were.
They're not both named Viridians.
There was another one that was also Viridian.
Yeah, that was.
Am I thinking of something else then?
That was somebody else's.
Yeah, that was someone else's
Oh,
deck.
yeah.
They
Okay, never
both
mind.
were
Yeah.
playing Viridian's
Yeah.
deck.
But so it was the Earth Lightning deck. James lost his shit when he realized that Man in Black and Hecaton chair are really good.
So sick.
You watched him take. What did he take? Like 2 or 3 backups
He
off
took
that
like
Hecaton
3
chair.
Oh my god. He took Amber, Tyro, and Matoya.
Yeah,
Like,
he
it was
fucking.
sick.
He was like,
Or he might have
I'll
taken
grab this.
Shantoto later. I
I'll
don't
grab
know.
this Hecaton
Oh my
chair.
God.
Fucking play Hecaton chair. I'm like nuts. That's what made you really like Man in Black.
Get
100%.
rid of that Tyro.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I've been
Hecaton Chair, Man in
preaching
Black.
that card since that card came out to you. I want you to
Yeah,
understand
but you've
that.
been
Especially
preaching at Tomos for memes.
Tomos funny. Especially when I realized that Man in Black just puts the fucking card back into your break zone to reuse. That's Man in Black and Tomos is funny, James.
It is. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Like if you keep spot removing them, what are they gonna do?
And it doesn't choose.
It doesn't choose.
Yeah.
They're like, put this dude down. You're like, okay, a Tomos. What? Cool, whatever. And then you're like,
A Tomos?
Man in Black. I have a unit on board, so my Tomos is like a 2 cost. But grab this Atomos. I'll put this dude down. Atomos, like, woo! What do you do about it?
Yeah.
But shout out to Viridian. Did a
Who?
great event. I don't know who.
No, you're too late now.
Okay.
Okay.
Got him. He just accepts it. I hate it so much.
Shout out to Ryan Chen.
Yeah.
Why would you double shout out?
Because we keep saying Viridian, but
Who?
not his name. I'm done with
What?
It's so funny. Shout outs to Travis for giving like a
Oh,
what is it,
the super cut?
Yeah, the super
Yeah.
cut. Shout outs to that one, man. That's actually really nice because there was just a lot of like times where we were either interviewing somebody or just like off camera doing random shit.
Shout out to everybody that came on camera and was
Like, interviewed.
lucky enough to
Yeah.
interview with us.
Yeah,
Lucky
yeah.
enough. Was
Lucky
Willing,
enough to
willing,
interview with us.
willing- willing to do
is
an
a
interview.
better word.
willing to interview.
We're like
Yes.
no names, my dude.
Yeah.
Like our merch was a lanyard and some dice.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of people left it on the date.
I keep the lanyard. I like lanyards, so it's just a me thing. Otherwise, those are like the big 2 like points of contention that at least chat had and a few
trying to
people
think
in
if there
the,
were
the
any-
group chats had. People thought that we were dogging on Chocobo Joe, but even he came back and was like, I mean, you guys were biased, but yeah, you weren't like shitting
You
on
guys
me.
were
We
biased
like,
as fuck,
he was
boys.
like, I would be too for a
Yeah.
Turks Avalanche deck. I was like, exactly.
Okay.
Choco Joe was real cool.
The only problem was during that game, Chocobo Joe and his opponent Josh.
Yeah, it was against Josh.
Josh Herman?
Yeah. Game 2 and 3. Josh's deck was not very willing to
Dude,
cooperate.
it just didn't seem like either of their decks were cooperating.
Yeah, that
and
was
it's
game
funny
3.
too because after the fact that when we talked to Joe, the next day we see him
played
on
his
stream
deck.
and he
His
got his
deck just
fucking
does
he
everything.
got his Christmas moment with his deck. And I was like, holy shit, it works.
Yeah. So it wasn't that we were dogging. It's just their game 2, Josh wasn't getting anything. Game 3, Josh and Chocobo Joe were just
Their
not
backups
getting
were not
anything. Like
They were. Sorry, they were like heavily on the opposite color they needed every fucking time.
Yeah,
And
like,
it sucked for them. It was a fun game to watch overall. Like when I look back at it. But
Also, the fucking Verstale deck, nuts as shit.
I think it's the same Verstale deck, but the thing that made it cooler was the Emperor.
The Emperor was
Hella.
nuts.
The only thing it did make me realize, as much as I like that card's not as cool as I thought it was, because you're forced to use that counter on any point of any type of damage.
Yeah.
It's not ability damage. So like you're like, oh, if they force you to block with them, yeah, straight breaks. I mean, straight breaks and bounce get around. But like if your opponent swings and like you're forced to block or you just choose to block, that counter's gone.
Squall hits that on a counter.
Yeah, Squall eats that shit up. You're like, I guess I'll block, eat the counter, and it's like, okay, fucking
Swing, eat a counter. Do you want to block? Cool, eat a counter.
yeah, it's out of counters at that point. It's gonna take.
Like if there's an Emperor on field, you have to, and somebody plays a Squall, you have to decide if you want to
lose
just
2
eat a bunch
counters.
of counters.
I mean, even with like an Adlord on field, because doesn't he? No, he doubles. He doesn't ping, but you can play cards that ping. Broska Magisa was something I wasn't expecting.
Magisa was very that.
Granted,
yeah,
I haven't. Cool. We haven't had the chance to sit down and watch all the other re-raises. The only other re-raise that I'm like familiar with is going to be this one in Omaha. Chicago was Bahamut Brawl.
oh yeah, you're right.
But because Omaha was here, what a long travel distance.
I mean, I couldn't even make it.
But like it was completely different in the way it works, and especially because it was a 2-deck format.
Gosh darn it, James.
Yeah.
2-deck formats are interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't have more to say? I thought you had more to say.
No.
What about Highlander?
You did ask me what I thought between the Omaha Gill Stack and the Phoenixville Re-Raise, because they're both Re-Raise events technically. I think both events are handled well. Obviously, the difference is in the format. One's 2-deck, one's 1-deck, so it's a lot smoother of a transition, I would say, with the Omaha event as opposed to the Phoenixville event. But the Phoenixville event was actually everything seemed to go smoothly with no issues besides like the first round hiccup.
Yeah, outside of just like a couple of technicality issues on like the stream, which was not properly set up the day before like it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
and we had a bunch of technical errors the day of and the next day when we were trying to set up and get things ready. I'll say that tournament ran smooth as fuck outside of like the obvious like judge problems. That
Omaha was the same way, but it's not a Final Fantasy. It's not a card game event without there being a repair.
Yeah.
Like every fucking card game event, there's gonna be a repair.
It used to be a UFS joke, but now it's just a card game
It's
event.
fucking everything. I mean, it's not an Omaha event without a repair.
I don't know what you mean.
Like that event was like the most perfect any event. Like outside of like people hating on the judge stuff.
Yeah, and
was the most perfect any event I've seen run.
Gamers Heaven is also a franchise.
Which is super cool.
Low-key, didn't realize until Amy had told us.
So she was talking to us about fucking
and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Can we get one of those in Omaha? Like, I want a cool theater room.
Yeah.
The only thing we got in Omaha is LWG and its VIP lounge, which is only open during events.
Big events, too.
Yeah.
I can't do it during locals.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I can't get them.
I don't think locals are big enough to even want to support that. But overall, I thought the event was great. We were really on the back end this time. We didn't really have too much interaction with people besides like certain people in Top Cuts. And all of the staff we had more interactions with. I thought everybody was doing great. I thought everybody was actually
that
very
event
nice
was
and
great.
cordial.
Colin was a great judge.
Dude, Colin,
he crushed.
That's
Colin
what I wanted to mention as well.
Stuff.
Yeah. So this is our own like spitballing shit and just kind of talking about it.
Fix the fucking judge program.
Square Enix.
Anybody. This is a call to action. Somebody. Like, Batman, are you out there?
Yeah, no.
I need a hero.
God, that car crash did a number on you.
I told you I'm funny.
So, from what we are aware of, Colin lives in the area, so Colin was going to be there regardless. I believe.
Right? Colin lives close enough that he could get there quick.
Okay, yeah. And then we had like one other person who
he's friends with Amy and stayed there with them.
We had one other person who agreed,
which as far as I know, was just somebody that also worked at the store that was cleared to help.
Yeah.
Yep.
He honestly, if I believe it was the guy, I think it was the guy we saw most of the time. I can't think of his name. I don't remember his name.
This is a dog on Square Enix specifically,
Yes.
not people,
not gamers,
not Gamers Heaven, also not individual people in Square Enix, but Square Enix as a whole.
Just like
why the fuck do we not have a judge program?
Especially when you okayed the re-raises.
Yeah, like I would assume you would have something in place. A lot of people are talking about doing the level judge system, like level 1, level 2 type judges. Honestly, I think first off, we just need a judge program that works. We need people, especially with the way like cards work now.
More complicated as they
we definitely need a set of questions that are laid out that people take these tests on,
or somebody that is able to help other.
Yeah, they get cleared to be judges because. From what we are aware of, they just put a tweet out or like some sort of like, hey, this thing.
We need help.
That whoever answers, and that's probably what you're going to get.
Colin was literally outside like the help they got from like the one guy was there. And it's nothing against him. I think he took almost every single judge call and kind of gave it off to Colin. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, I stayed most of the time inside the thing, but that's
at the booth.
That's what I felt.
We were locked up.
From what I heard from other people. But like... Colin was basically out there on an island by himself, judging everything at this 57-person event. And everybody keeps saying it was Gamers Heaven's responsibility, which I can understand them trying to figure things out. But they reached out to Square Enix, asked them for help. Square Enix put out a tweet and got one reply from somebody that I was told showed up to the event because they had a ticket.
Yeah.
So, like, they got absolutely no help from Square Enix and only had Colin. And Colin did a fantastic job with what he had given to him.
Yeah, no, I think Colin did fantastic. Like
Colin
as like the head, the like one head judge.
In terms of judges, pretty great judge.
Oh yeah, you had more interactions than I did. Like you guys actually like sat and talked.
Yeah,
about
we
all
thought
that type of stuff. Like I kind of watched that as I was bopping up.
Well, chat was giving him a fuck.
over here.
Chat was like roasting him, and like
chat was roasting a lot of people. My guy,
Facebook, probably Discord. I'm not in Discord. I don't fucking give a shit. Any chats at all were just fucking just destroying him on like judge calls, and it's just like, you guys are just not the brightest people. Like, to not understand a single thing and not be at this event.
Yeah.
Or like, if you are at this event and have a problem, like this is one of the things was people were like really getting on Sam, for whatever reason.
Supposedly, to our knowledge that we have been informed, Sam might have a history or has a history, whatever. But this is the first time.
Steve.
Yeah. This is like one of the first times we've ever like had to interact with him and everybody else.
As far as I could tell, the bottom line for that one for me was, if you had a problem with that judge, if you had a problem with what happened in that scenario, you should have voiced it.
Yeah. If either player had a problem with that scenario, they voiced the problem.
But both players agreed to the judge on the same call. At that point, the player who had the problem voided their chance and their
ability,
any ability they needed to refute that judge, refute that
I'm proud of
refute that moment. Whatever they wanted, they gave up that ability by agreeing and saying to the judge, "This is the information."
Yeah.
So, like, this isn't me attacking any of the players. It's just in that moment, if both players are going to agree that if either of them had a problem, they chose not to do it, that moment's null and void. I don't give a fuck about it, at all.
That's
like
fair. Chat was
any negativity about it later because you have. I
understand. Obviously, it's a heightened situation, and people go to these events. It's a competitive event. People take the shit seriously. There's no way you wouldn't take it seriously,
unless you're me.
Yeah, but I understand why people outside of the fact or like in close relation to others are gonna get mad and shit like that. In the end, like I don't want to sound like.
We don't want to make it
like
seem
a soy little bitch. It is a card game.
Yeah.
There's got to be more events.
I'm about to talk to you about this later. You get real frustrated.
Oh, I definitely get frustrated. I get it. Trust me. Everybody gets it.
It's just a card game.
I know it's just a card game, James. But when shit doesn't work the way it's supposed to work, it irks me.
Well, you make it no fun for me when you get angry.
Man,
James, I'll tone it down. Half a notch. If you tone it down 7 notches on Sundays.
I can't. Sundays at 4 hours by myself. Up here is bad place, my guy.
Fucking watch Adventure Zone.
I listened to it. That's what I was listening to all day at work.
God, it wasn't getting you through. Back to everything else, though. This is a later
no
talk.
sidebars.
Other than that, I don't really have much else to touch on. It is getting late for me. It's like almost midnight, so I'm good. You guys got anything you want to toss in?
Fuck chat.
I was waiting for. I don't know why it took you forever to get there.
I forgot about it.
Oliver, anything you got?
I was actually gonna say it, but James just kind of
I'll just
took
go
it
with
off.
him.
Chat.
I'll take all that because I started that motion of hashtag fuck chat
Hashtag fuck chat.
when Noah was saying this is getting out of control. I was just like fuck chat, dude.
Like, this was the what was it? It was what was the thing we were joking about? It was they were roasting us because of what we were saying about.
Yeah, they were people. I don't know how many, but there was at least a person or two who was getting on us about roasting Joe, and then goes on and fucking literally shit
Destroys
talks on Sam.
Prime.
Like,
Fuck.
holy fuck!
Like, I'm so anti these commentators. They're hating on my players. But fuck this guy.
Yeah, like it was holy shit. Maybe
It was the
something
most,
to get
like,
more into
180
later.
I've ever seen.
Dude, I was in the middle of chat when all this was happening. They were watching this. I was actively like looking at this happening. I'm just like, oh my god, dude.
Overall, when chat wasn't losing its fucking mind, it was great to have them in the.
Oh, man.
in the
Interactive
stream.
Man,
but
I was-
I went off on a tangent about all different other Final Fantasy
And
games,
we were having
and they
a
were
great
like,
time.
"What's going on in the game, though?" I was like,
Well,
"What?"
like you were also still having a conversation about those games.
Yeah.
It was a very fun event. Ran very well by the people at Gamers at
Yeah.
Heaven. I would 100% do it again.
Oh, for sure.
100% do it again. Next
I'm
time
not-
though, we're flying. I'm not
February is it in Miami? It's in Florida. Lockwood's event
Yeah, Lockwood's
for
event.
his like big Light and Dark Teams
Light and
event.
Dark Teams event,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. I'm at least aiming to go there. I think James is, depending on if his job won't
It's
cuck him
a
or not.
work thing.
But yeah, hopefully we'll be there.
I
Or
can't,
hopefully
even, I
he'll be
can't
there.
even
I'll be there.
attempt to look at. I can't even attempt to put in for it till like maybe late January.
Yeah, it's so gross.
Yep.
But yeah,
Unless I make regular, and then I have a possibility of putting it in early.
should be a bonus.
Yeah.
Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe.
Support us on
Actually,
Patreon.
comment. Like if you have issues, address the issues. We don't fucking care.
Talk to
Like,
us. We'll talk to you about
People
it.
shit talk me on shuffling cards in my hand super
shut up,
fast,
Plump.
like I'm on COD. I'll murder you.
This has been
I'll make your next
TCGU.
Sunday terrible. See you guys later. Have fun. I'll fucking kill you.
Stay learned.